Hi, sir.
Hi, Chelsea, you got it fixed. Nicely done. Nicely done. Right. Evening, everyone. Yeah. Um, you'll see that I did a layout document. Somebody asked me for it, and I had forgotten to do it. I did that today. You'll see in the layout document, I've tried to just give guidance in terms of what is expected and what you need to do. Um, you're obviously not going to write the stuff that I have here, but so each of these, you'll get the layout document. Try and stick to the layout document. It allows a bit of consistency when we do marking, etc. Cleo, go for it.
Sorry, so on this note, I also saw this document earlier today. I wanted to just ask, in the first submission, how will we be marked? Because in the first submission document with the rubric and all, it says it's marked on a continuous basis. So must we have the lit review, the intro, the everything done by the 20th, or is it marked on a continuous basis?
Oh,
So
no,
if
you've
one,
got to have everything done by the 20th. So you have
okay.
to have everything done by the 20th. I think what they mean by that is that this document feeds into the next document, feeds into the next document. So it literally is like a puzzle. And this is the first piece, and we'll get our second piece of the puzzle when we do our next submission, our third piece, and fourth piece. So we also try and track to see how you perform between the different submissions to see for consistency. That's what I imagine it means. But yeah, no, clear, we've got it sorted. So it's the entire thing. Guys,
Well, thank
have
you,
they
sir.
not given word counts for each of these? Because the overall word count, I would imagine, is what, 4,000? I don't know. Let me not even try and guess. But no, why did they not give a word count? This is the stuff that's a little bit frustrating, guys. And I did see you talk about it, but obviously I lectured all day today. I'll try and, is that the final one, Michaela, the overall one, 5,000? Um, let's look at this together, and then I need to find out who the pod leaders are so that I can share it with them as well. Because obviously, what I do here, we calibrate. Okay, okay, yeah, okay. No, that's perfect. Thanks, Michaela. That's perfect. So, guys, remember titles. We've done the title bit now. I'm not helping with titles anymore. Just keep it simple initially. If you're doing qualitative research, exploring. If you're doing quantitative research, either explaining or describing, remember to have your variables. And even if it's describing the relationship, that's easy enough to do. In terms of qualitative, slightly different, but we start with exploring. Your pod leader will guide you and help you. But the titles I've given you, I'm very, very comfortable with. But nothing is ever perfect. And obviously, your relationship when it comes to completing the document is with your pod leader, although I am actively involved. We chat about your different submissions. We get examples. I mean, we want to try and maximize what we get out of this as well. So in terms of the introduction, and we've spoken about the introduction, but I've given an idea of what I want. It is the grab the attention, whether it's an outrageous statement, whether it's a quotable quote, it doesn't really matter what it is. Once you've done that outrageous thing, please just remember to transition into your topic. So from there, just have a transition sentence. The outrageous statement could be something along the lines of electric cars will kill the world, something ridiculous. And then you can transition and say, yes, that is a harsh statement. However, we know that in terms of, the getting the different materials and disposing of that kind of bringing it into your topic. Remember these transition sentences, guys, because the earlier we get the flow sorted, the better. And you're going to get feedback from your pod leaders. So pay attention to the feedback as well, but try and get it as perfect as soon as possible. And then just start taking us to your literature review. So a brief introduction. Remember your golden thread, your title and your topic. Your topic is a broader description of your title. Okay, your title narrows it down into a nice little package. The topic is slightly broader in describing what had brought you to the particular title. Guys, and then just take us to your literature review. In terms of the literature review, it's something along the lines of, in this document, I will be reviewing literature along the following lines. And it will depend on what you've picked up. Guys, can everyone hear? Because I'm not muted and my mic is showing that I'm talking. Everyone can. Oh, shucks, Michelle, and you've also gone green. Your little indicator button. Oh, there you are. You're back, Michelle. Not your first rodeo, Michelle. The Varsity College person who can't use the Varsity College stuff. You're back, Michelle. Stealing my Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I needed the extra Wi-Fi. Guys, so link to your literature review and then the roadmap. The roadmap and will change all the time. It's where you say, in this document, I will be initially doing a literature review on this topic. In my literature review, I will provide my theoretical framework. I will report on existing scholarship or existing literature, and finally end off by discussing the paradigm that I've adopted. Please do me a favor, and that is such a good point. Generally, quantitative research is third person. Qualitative research can be first person, but I think people want it in third person. Write it in third person. Please don't get into the habit of saying the researcher is of the researcher. Just write it in the third person. But the truth is, in pure qualitative research, in particular, one of the traditions, grounded theory, you write in the first person. But just for consistency, there was a decision that we'll write in the third person. But a hell of a good question, Michaela, a very, very important question, okay? In terms of the theoretical framework, and we'll talk about the details around this, and most of you at this stage would have your theories. I think we've broadly agreed theories. We've broadly suggested theories. Please just remember those theories. Guys, please keep this procedurized. Because you're new at this, and I know that some of you did this in third year, this is a definite step up from third year. You will never write A, B, and C. It is just, my brain is like a merry-go-round. It is a jumbled mess. So I have to get myself organized. And that's why I provide these kinds of procedures and guidelines and things like that. And it just works. So in your theoretical framework, you will not write A, B, and C, but you will include parts A, B, and C. Make sure that you write the theory in its original format. And the reason I say that is often what happens with new researchers at this level is that they almost adopt the attitude that this theory was written back in 1625 just for them to use for their own research. And they default to that. And I've seen this too many times. And remember, guys, I've supervised over 200 people before at honors and master's level. So this is not anything new. And also I supervised in LLB as well, because I think some of you might know that I have a stupid master's in labor law. But start the theory in its original format. Use the original authors. So give me the theory as it was initially postulated. And if you can find the original references, guys, that makes it a lot better. So don't say Maslow, not that we'll ever allow you to use Maslow in Smith and Jones. Go and find the original Maslow writings. Okay. I mean, when I did my last bit of study, my oldest reference was 1911. Okay, was 1911. I had used some of Freud's stuff. So try and find that original reference, what the theory said in its original format. Once you've done that, you then give me updated views on theories. Remember, theories are evolutionary. Theories will evolve over time. Theories essentially reflect society at a particular point in time. And as society evolves, theories will evolve. And theories will evolve in terms of the opinions around those theories. So your second part is where you give me those updated views. So new authors, try and bring in, authors from the last 6 years, but you'll also see that theories are often an evolutionary process where people make new suggestions and change what the original theory said. Okay. And then you have to tell me why this theory is relevant. Why can we use this theory to frame your discussion? You have to get that right. So the earlier we get that right, the better. And guys, can I just say this? And I don't know how many people are on the call tonight. Not everyone will get this right, despite me making it so apparent. People will get it wrong. And I don't know whether it's because, when you write this up, there's so much happening that you forget. The way these lectures are designed is for you to play this bit and then to do this bit and then to start again to see what, and I know that I'm being an absolute pain, but just remember, this is our first throw at proper research. I mean, this is the first time in anything that you've ever studied, and I know some of you have formal other qualifications, so that's a bit of a generalization, where you are going to add to knowledge, where you're going to add your own bit of information into the sort of database of knowledge that is out there. So try and do this procedurized. And I don't want to treat you as children. I think you guys know that is not my approach. But I've seen this too many times. You remind and you remind, and then you mark, and it's not the same. Okay. So those are the three. Any questions, any comments in terms of that? Guys, are you happy for me to do it this way? We'll go to the theory in a second, obviously. We'll go to the theory in a second when we look at the slides, and we'll connect those together. And I'm assuming, yeah, go for it, Mahal.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, Mahal.
So my question is about point number C. So
Yeah.
are we supposed to explain why the theory is relevant specifically to our topic?
Specifically why we selected this theory, 100%. You remember the golden thread. So your explanation will tie back to your title, will tie back to your discussion of your topic. It absolutely 100% is that. So why did we select this theory to act as the blueprint for the rest of the research? Okay. And remember, some theories, I mean, I know that I had suggested, sorry, Mahal, I know that I had suggested some people to use Darwin's theory of evolution in discussing changes in an organization. But it's relevant because Darwin talks about being fit for purpose. Organizations that are fit for purpose essentially are the ones that reinvent themselves and survive. So, even though you use a theory of evolution written in the 19 whatevers or the 18 whatevers, the truth is it can still be used within the context of what you've done. Shelby, in terms of so I'm going to separate. Yeah, so the literature review is the overall definition, and then the theoretical framework forms part of the way we're doing it, and that. Guys, please do me a favor, and this is also important, and my apologies for jumping back. Please don't give me headings upon headings. Literature review, say to me, in this literature review, I will be attending to the following points. I will initially provide, or initially a theoretical, and there I go in first person, my apologies. Initially, I will provide a theoretical framework, whereafter I will spend, I can't write in third person. Sorry, guys. I'm a qualitative researcher and haven't done quantitative since my master's. But you know what I mean. Don't give us headings on headings. Tell us what is in the literature review. It's that kind of flow that we're trying to create. Go for it, Cleo.
Hi, sir. So I've been reading up on my topic, and say like a lot of the articles I've been referencing, while I've been reading, have referenced the core model of performance, but they say it's made up of like 6 meta-theoretical constructs, and a lot of those use those as a lot of articles use the core model of performance as a theoretical framework.
But
Now,
remember,
would that
those are the
pass in
updated
this
views
case?
on it, hey? But that would be the
Yes.
updated views on it.
Okay.
Because you can
Exactly.
see already, because they've taken the core model and they've said, yes, that was created at that point in time for that period, that was fine, but we need to reconsider it. So those are your updated views.
Okay.
It's a brilliant example of the updated views.
Well, thank you.
Okay, wonderful, actually. Okay, so give me that link. So in the literature review, the following will be attended to. Initially, a theoretical framework will be provided. Thereafter, the current scholarship and current views will be discussed as part of the reporting of literature. That we need that. Start creating the flow in the document, because you want a document that there's that flow. You don't want a disjointed mess. And yes, this is not going to be perfect the first time around, but throw hard the first time and try and get it as close as perfect as possible, guys. Okay. Everyone okay with that? And Cleo, that was a blimmin' good example, okay? Because you've now picked up where the original theory is and the core model is, but people have added bits and pieces to it. Wonderful updated views on the theory. Why the theory is relevant, I think I've explained that. Okay, guys, and then just the reporting of literature. The reporting of literature is, and the term that we use is scholarship. And the reason we use scholarship is because we want peer-reviewed articles. Please be careful. If I see Indeed, if I see business balls, if I see any balls, I completely lose my mind. Guys, be very, very careful. People default to Indeed. I don't want to see Investopedia. I don't want to see any pedia whatsoever. Remember, they are not peer reviewed. I mean, please be very careful of those kind of things. Please remember to use Google the way I suggested. Do Google search and then add the term scholarly articles as well. To be able to report on literature, you need to do a lot of reading. You need to do a lot of summarizing, guys. But please note my term there. It is a critical discussion, because if you give me one paragraph with one reference in that paragraph and you repeat the reference throughout, that is a summary. That is not a critical discussion or a critical review. So be careful to not give summaries. It is integrating different points from different authors in constructing an argument. And again, it's going to happen where people are going to give us summaries. That's not the point here. You're integrating a variety of articles into a single paragraph to build a coherent argument. It sounds like I'm preaching. Sorry, guys. And then just remember, what will come out of your initial research is you'll have your themes. So in those themes, you need to label those themes. Give us titles to those themes. And you'll see those themes will emerge from the reading that you do. I hate trying to preempt themes, and I know that I've done it with one or two of you. Rather see what themes emerge from your reading, and you'll see that it's certain articles and certain views logically joined together. And remember, there's also nothing wrong with contrasting opinions on the same view and having it as part of the same part of the same theme. But it's building that kind of critical argument. And just remember, guys, next year we are launching a master's program. I'm expecting to see a lot of you on that master's program, and research in masters is a big step up. And the better we get it here, and the better we get it done here, the easier the transition to the masters will be. Just as an aside, who might join me on the masters next year? Tanya, nice tea, nice Mizamil, nice.
So, what is the master's in? Is it business itself, or is it MCOM masters?
So it's a master's in strategic management.
Okay.
So yeah, so MCOM, strategic management.
Okay, cool.
So it is. It's got a strong element of an MBA, but we would rather refer to it as an MBL. It doesn't have that incredibly strong financial, that very, very strong, Charles, I love certainty, that very strong financial overtone. Okay, I'm in the process of developing the first or one of the modules, but I'm not the only developer. But I definitely am hoping to see you guys there, because this is a journey. I mean, this is a start, and I also know what position some of you hold, and I think at that position there's almost an expectation that you now have your masters, and you know who I'm talking to, so I'm not going to pick on you, or I'm not going to pick on those individuals. Okay, there is that expectation now. Michelle, can I say though that I did my honors, my masters, and my PhD while working, you know, for myself, several jobs. And can I tell you something? I survived. Just don't take as long as I did, because I did it every 10 years. And can I also say, it is supposed to, I know, Michaela. Michaela, I know. And that's why I did put a bit of a proviso into what I said. I mean, you're a pretty impressive person, Michaela, a pretty impressive young woman. Now I know that, so we're not going to force you to do that. But and I can't even remember what I was going to say. I've just got distracted. Oh, why I wanted to say, guys, if it wasn't difficult, Johnson, I can't comment where I don't get involved in that, but check around September, October. Okay, check around September, October. But if it wasn't difficult, everyone else would be doing it. I don't know. I'm not a marketer. I don't get paid when you guys join that program. But I think I'm thinking big picture. I think this is still the journey. You know, for some of you, this is part of a journey. This is not the end point to the journey. Okay, so from there, yeah, but can I tell you, I know the person who's running this program. And let me tell you, Almas, this is an impressive young person. It's somebody that I've been working with for 20 years. Very impressive person. Yeah, this is a hot shot that's looking after this program overall. I mean, I can vouch for that. Hey? So from there, we'll move to your paradigm. Guys, please tell me what a paradigm is. Just define the term paradigm. It's a mindset. It guides our thought processes. It guides views on the world, the views of the world. So just give me that definition of a paradigm. It's all part of the flow. Also tell me why we have paradigms. Remember, paradigms frames decisions. Paradigms guides what essentially is thought to be the rules of the game within the world at a particular point in time. So define what a paradigm is. Tell me what a paradigm does, in particular, what a paradigm does in research. So Michaela, this is all old hat for you, and I feel a little bit embarrassed. Michaela will be running next week's class, just by the way, guys. And then Michaela will do quantitative because she did MSc, and I know bugger all. No, I lie. I did my master's quantitatively. Okay, guys, and then just describe your selected paradigm. Remember the two options: positivism and interpretivism. You have positivism and interpretivism. Please remember to get the golden thread right. There's certain rules that apply to each of those. So just remember. Yeah, Brett, there it is, but 100%. People can steal that. Yeah. And I want to get to the term the lens, and I'll do that when I was going to lecture. But it's the lens that you look through in terms of your research. So when you look at the research outline, nowhere in the research process does anyone ever mention the paradigm, because it's the lens that you look at the research through. It guides your thoughts, it guides your actions, it guides your views on the world. Okay, and then, yeah, it's not in the rubric, but give us a conclusion, guys. I cannot stand a document without a conclusion. Remember the flow in the document. So from a reporting of literature, just give us a sentence saying, next, the paradigm that will guide the research will be discussed. Just give us that flow. And the sooner we get this right, honestly, the better. A critical discussion is where you take different articles and you integrate them to create a logical argument, a coherent argument. Even if you have contrasting views, but it's building that kind of argument. Mohau, I will show you examples of that, okay? And the reason I use the term critical discussion is because I do not want to see summaries. Because people take an article, they summarize, they put that as their paragraph, they have one reference or they repeat the same reference. That is a summary. That's not what we expect. It is multiple references integrated into a single coherent discussion, argument, whichever term you want to use. Okay. I hope that makes sense, Mohau. Okay, perfect. Right, so the document is there. I don't know. I think you guys have a pretty good idea. I'm worried I'm going to be repeating some of the stuff that I'd said, but that's also fine. And the reason I do it this way is to show you how much I really know about the topic, where I can lecture without notes. Eh? Okay, not true whatsoever, obviously. Right, so let's have a look at this. I can't remember whether we've discussed this week. I have, or last week. Please do me a favor. This is essential. Print it out, stick it above the wall where you work, because it guides your thoughts. Thanks, Michaela. Please make sure that you have this in the back of your mind. It gives you a sense. We also discussed introduction and context, so I'm not going to go through that again, and we've already had that. I've included the term background. So when you introduce your topic, it is where you go broader than the title. So just give us a sense of why this thing what we're doing and why it's important, guys. You know, you can see the kinds of things that must go into it, but it ultimately is about telling your reader, this is why this is worth doing. This is what we're doing. This is why it's worth doing. As we progress, you'll start putting more numbers, facts, and stats in. If you want to put in a few numbers, facts, and stats, you can at this stage. But it's an initial start, so this will expand significantly. Right. So, and you'll see I've tried to include the rubric so that there's a link between the rubric and your discussion. So your literature review, you'll see same. I've put that as my main heading. Now let's talk about your theoretical foundation. Your theoretical foundation acts as the blueprint for your research. It frames your research. Remember, in terms of the theories, use models. Please check if you are uncertain whether it's a theory or whether it's an existing model, guys. Remember, theories and models essentially suggest best practice options in terms of the real world. So just make sure that it is a theory that you're using, not just some process that exists. Theory or model. Okay, so what this does, it underpins your thinking. It gives you some sort of research plan, some sort of research guideline as to how your research will progress. So again, to go back to my example of Darwin's model and organizational change. I mean, Darwin's model ultimately comes to the point where it says, you know, the fittest will survive. And it's not really the fittest that survive. It is something that's fit for purpose. So you can already start talking about how organizations need to be fit for purpose to survive, and then use it as part of a change management discussion or whatever else follows. And I think also, I think the key thing is that it has to make sense. There has to be a golden thread between your topic, between your title, and this theory that you've selected. So that's why that part C that I include in the discussion is essential, because you have to tell me, after you've told me the theory in its original format, after you've given me updated views on the theory, why this is relevant. And remember to do that. Remember to do that. Whether we need one or two theories, if you're doing quantitative research, I am suggesting that you use two theories so that we can just steal from the two theories existing scales so that we can do basic correlation in terms of those scales. For qualitative people, I have no issue if you use one or two theories. Just remember, if you use an additional theory, you need to connect the theories in terms of your discussion. So if you use two theories, remember, and now, like an idiot, I've closed this down. So it will be exactly the same, right? But you will have a connecting sentence telling me why that particular theory has to be linked to this theory, why this theory adds value from a theoretical perspective. So again, that kind of flow that we kind try and promote in our discussion. So if there's a second theory that you use, please label the theories, give them their titles, do the A, B, and C, and then create that connecting sentence to say that this theory logically links to this and whatever the reason is for that. So in terms of our theoretical foundation, yeah, and then reporting your literature. This you can only do once you've done all of this. Now, I don't know, have you guys seen The Librarian? Have they shown you Research Rabbit and SciSpace and things like that? Let me find out what is happening. Does anyone know whether it has been scheduled? Okay, guys, tomorrow on the group. Yeah, please do me a favor and remind me to, also organize that and find out why that's happening. The librarians play a heck of an important part of this journey. Okay, please remind me tomorrow, guys, because I'm going to Westville, and honestly, it gets hectic because the road between Maritzburg and Westville is a bit dodgy at the moment, and so that I can just sort it out. Okay, so there are many ways of doing it, guys. Your keywords. I still am a big believer, and sorry, that was our previous lecture, my apologies. I'm still a big believer in doing this. So if you want to do something on organizational change, I'm just cheating and being lazy. Change, and we go fit for purpose. So we steal some words and you type in these two magic words. The articles, you can see mine defaults to that. You normally will find pretty good articles. To make sure that they're peer reviewed, you can just check them against EBSCOhost. But I'm a big fan of this. I prefer this over Google Scholar. I think I'm not, and I know that they've improved the algorithm in terms of Google Scholar, but I still like this approach. Okay, and if you need to do that in organizational change, in SMMEs, I don't know, fast moving goods. What is it, guys? Someone help me quickly. FMCG or something, isn't it? Or have I got that the wrong way around?
Yes,
I'm not
fast moving consumer goods, sir.
Thank you so
FMCG.
much, Bill. Yeah, I'm not a marketer. And you can see it gives you wonderful, wonderful insights. So it gets very, very specific. Okay. And you can see that the titles are pretty good. And Emerald is a really good database as well. So just remember that it just works for me. Yeah, Research Rabbit, and I'm not going to attempt it again because it'll bomb on me. But I'll make sure that the librarian gets hold of you guys. I'm a little bit frustrated about this, to be honest with you. This should have been set up. Okay. Just a reminder on the group tomorrow, guys. guys, there are other ways of doing it. You can go to EBSCOhost and do it in EBSCOhost. And they've added databases to EBSCOhost. I default to Google, although, I think everyone here knows how to use EBSCOhost, and the librarian will show you how to use EBSCOhost. Is everyone fully aware of how to use EBSCOhost at this stage? Don't be embarrassed if you're not. Okay, Tanya, you guys, okay, that's good news. That's wonderful news. So either use EBSCOhost and use some of the additional, Emerald, they've added a couple of additional sources and titles. And remember, additional databases. Okay, Larissa, we'll make sure that the librarian spends some time on that. Okay.
Sorry,
okay,
sir.
Larissa. Yeah, go for it. I don't even know who's
Are you talking
talking.
about the postgrad library session?
Yeah.
That thing's on our timetable, though. It's like every Wednesday before our REMY class.
Okay,
But
guys, you've got to attend that. Postgraduate library session. You see, I don't know that. I mean, I can't be expected. Anil, so guys, it is apparently arranged, but it will be half an hour. It's half an hour because most of you sit in class with me till 7 and then join me at 7:30. Go for it, Gerard.
Yes, sir. It is half an hour.
Anil, are you part of that?
Sir,
Just wait a second, Gerard. Anil, do you run that?
No, I don't run that. I just saw it on the timetable. Somebody shared the timetable earlier in the group, and then I
Okay.
just sort of diarized the dates for myself also.
Okay. Anil, please share that on the overall group for us as well. A half hour is very sharp. Okay, I'll see. I'll check on it anyway. Go for it, Gerard.
So just regarding EBSCOhost, is it similar to Google Scholar? Almost the same thing?
I think what makes EBSCOhost very good is, Brett, there must be recordings, but we'll find that as well. Okay, we'll find that as well. Please remember to put all of these reminders, prompt me tomorrow. So it is similar to Google Scholar, but what EBSCOhost allows you to do, it allows you to limit it to full articles. It allows you to limit it to peer-reviewed articles. It allows you to delineate the time that it's not older than 6 years. So there's a lot of extra functionalities to it. Okay.
So you can stream a lot better.
You can.
Okay.
I'm biased towards Google Scholar. I don't know why I am. It's a really bad thing. Although when I did my PhD, I lived on EBSCOhost and that kind of database. So, I'm also being a bit disingenuous now because I have used it extensively as part of my last study. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sasha.
So then collect material. Guys, do yourself a favor. Summarize, as Cleo had said earlier, summarize those articles, create summaries, and write it in a way that you can almost copy and paste it back into your document, and this just create connecting sentences. So just reference properly. I'm a big fan of Zotero. The librarian sessions will cover Zotero as well. It really is a good referencing tool. But if you just want to use what is in Word, and to be honest with you, I used this for my PhD, and I had 50 pages of references in my PhD, and it worked exceptionally well. I don't know where it is here in terms of where is it? Oh, there it is, APA. Okay, so the references there, you can use that as well. There it is, insert citation, add news source. It's been a while. You can clearly see it's been a while. Okay, collect material. It is a lot of reading at this stage, guys. A lot of reading, a lot of summarizing. Also remember, guys, just when you get an article, just read the abstract first, because some articles will look great in terms of title, and it might be a load of horse manure that you spend a lot of time wasting. So check the abstract when you read those articles. But I cannot emphasize more the need to reference. The need to summarize and reference. Guys, also stay away from direct quotes. I think some people think that you make something look more academic when you include a whole bunch of direct quotes. You shouldn't be including more than one direct quote per page. And in fact, unless it is something profound, I would paraphrase it all the time. I would write it in my own words. And also, once you start writing it in your own words, you can start connecting, a range of sources into a single sentence. So try and stay away from the direct quotes. It's incredibly frustrating because, I mean, I mark stuff where in every paragraph, half the paragraph is a direct quote. I don't give marks for that. So please don't think it looks academic because it's riddled with direct quotes. It's not. Right, and then read with purpose. I think that's where the abstract comes into it. And then also, guys, just read the detail. Read the findings. The findings are important because that's where you learn what came out of the research. Check what they put into their literature review. See if any of the stuff there can be borrowed and use the references. I mean, you can go and look at the reference list from there as well. I cannot emphasize this more. Summarize, reference. And what you'll see as you keep doing this, you'll start seeing logical connects between your summaries. And what I did, and I'm not the best person because, again, with this brain that is like a jumbled mess, I have to procedurize everything I do. So what I did is, I don't even know if I'm going to find this now, is I did my, where's my doctorate? Articles, I think here. And you'll see what had happened is I had one big list, and then I started dividing it into different titles for each of the articles where logically you would have things together. Where's my articles sorted? Guys, it's somewhere in here. It's been a long time since I've looked at this nonsense. Okay. Somewhere in here it says article sorted, where I've divided it into themes, but initially you'll sit with pages and pages of articles. And then, the bibliographic records. And then know when to stop, guys. Remember, this is still at a postgraduate level. It is your first postgraduate. You're not doing a master's. You're not doing a PhD. Know when to stop. I think you will know when you've got enough information to build those coherent arguments in terms of those themes. And I know somebody's going to ask me how many themes. I can't tell you how many themes, guys, to be brutally honest with you. You will see the themes emerge from your research. But if you've got fewer than three themes, I would be a little bit concerned. So aim between 3 and 5, but I hate doing that. So between 3 and 5 themes should be more than sufficient, okay? And then just also, write up your review. There is a lot to be done in 21 days. There's a lot to be done. So there will be points where you need me more than you need me at other times. So I will go through the theory. I will go through the slides as often as you want me to do it. But sometimes we will sit and chat about your research, about your own concerns, because you don't have a lot of time with your pod leaders. And then, thank you for that, whoever shared that. Thank you so much for that. Thanks, Michaela. Wonderful, wonderful link that, okay, guys? It is a wonderful link, to be honest with you. Thanks, Michaela. Guys, and then just in terms of when I talk about a critical discussion, the rubric tells you very clear. It's a solid and logical argument, substantiated, and it really starts pointing to gaps. But it's that the argument that you create, and it's the connects that you create between those different sources that become very important. Okay. Right. And then your research paradigm. So, I mean, there are a number of definitions, and I have said this before. There is a reason why I don't reference the slides. I don't reference the slides because you can take information from here and Johnson, and your ICE tasks, but so get your ICE tasks out of your life. I'm damn sure I've loaded the ICE tasks. Just get the freebie done as soon as possible. Get those ICE tasks done, guys. It's a free 10%. And 10% is, trust me, when you're sitting on 40, 10% is a heck of a lot. Get them out of your life. They won't take you more than 10 minutes to do. And remember, whether you get 10% or 100% for each of them, I have to give you 100%. I didn't set that rule. That standard was created ages ago, and I stick to it. Right. So in terms of the paradigm, yeah, it's a basic belief system. It guides our views, our thoughts in terms of the world. Now, each paradigm in terms of research have these sub-elements. Now, the first one in terms of ontology, it guides what we believe to be real. So for me, what is real is lived experiences. For my son, the mathematician, it is what you can prove through verification, through science, through objective experimentation, etc. So we talk about reality being either a single verifiable truth, and if you believe that, you are a positivist. Okay, you Michaela, you're a positivist. You believe that you can reduce anything and everything to numbers and stats. That your own experience doesn't matter. It's what can be proven through science. So if you have that view of the world and of what reality is, you're a positivist. If you have, and can I just say, in defense, I say that I prefer to work within the interpretivist approach. My master's was done within the positivist paradigm, so I actually know positivism quite well. However, if you believe that reality is socially constructed and that there are multiple realities, and my apologies for using this stupid example again, in the accident that happens, when you go and interview people as witnesses, they will have multiple realities of exactly the same incident. 10 people will look at a car accident and you will have 10 different versions of the accident, because in terms of that, we create, we socially construct reality. If you are the accident investigator that arrives with tape measures and works out reaction time, etc., where it's stats and numbers, you're a positivist. At this stage, you will know where you are because we would have done that in terms of your title. If I wrote your title as exploring, you're this part. If I wrote the title as explaining or describing, you're that part. Can I just check? Is everyone clear on where they are in terms of their chosen paradigm? Because if you've been with me during that initial workshop, and I know some people were missing, but I think you should now know whether you are going to be within interpretivism and whether you are going to be within positivism. So positivism, that there's a single verifiable truth. It is something that you can test. You know, I trust no one, guys. I mix my own water, to be honest with you. It's 2 H's and 1 O. I know that's a pathetic joke, but that's almost the essence of that reality. We know that water is 2 H's and 1 O. Trust no one, guys. Mix your own water. And then, obviously, if it's socially constructed, I am an open ocean swimmer. I love swimming in the ocean. So if I say to you, what does water mean to you? If I say to my son, what is water? He'll tell me H2O. If someone asks me what water is, water for me is freedom It's time for me to, it's a time where I can be with myself, be with my own thoughts, spend quality time with myself. I love swimming in the ocean. For me, water is freedom. And that's the difference between being a positivist and somebody who is more inclined towards being an interpretivist. And let me ask you the question, what does water mean to you? What does water mean to you? It is life. Okay. It is relaxation. It is hydration. Yeah, and we can already see how it's a cleansing device. How we can start seeing positivists versus interpretivists. It is health. I mean, there's definitely a sense that it's there. Truthfully, I mean, I have idiot children, and you know they. Michaela, I was waiting for that. You cannot believe how I was bloody waiting for that. And I'm sitting here thinking, why is Deabro not doing her stuff? Yeah, the scientist that is here. I mean, if I have children who I have incredibly bright kids. I have incredibly bright kids, and they used to write exams until they've, you know, realized they have 80, then they'd mess around. And the one day they were interpreting some poetry, and it was a poem about love, and the and it is so bad that I shouldn't tell these stories, but the question was, what did he see when he looked into her eyes? My middle child, who was also a scientist, wrote he saw her capillaries, and I'm thinking, this is now just being deliberately obtuse. And he said he saw her pupils, he saw her capillaries. Iris, a pupil. Thanks, Michaela. You see, I mean, that is now deliberately stupid, but that's what a positivist is. That's what a positivist is. Okay. Yeah, no, anything to antagonize. They're all adults now. I still have an 18-year-old who is at least not an idiot. Okay. My kids are here listening to me talking as well, so don't worry. Okay, so the second one, and I love the Abro there again, and Iris, a pupil. Well done, Michaela. We need people like that. Okay. Right, guys. And then epistemology. And it's the nature of knowledge. It is, how do we acquire? No, I think we're fine. We're fine with that Miss Scientist over there. But I think people are starting to see the difference. And in epistemology, guys, it is essentially how we acquire knowledge and how we validate knowledge. I mean, it is what knowledge is, it's how we communicate. So in terms of knowledge from I hate the term epistemological position, I think when you're objective and you want to see causation and causality, and you worry about validity and generalizability, you are a positivist. But if you understand that knowledge can be gained subjectively, and that gaining knowledge is about emerging yourself with the lived experiences of people, you are an interpretivist. So we start seeing these differences, and those worldviews are important because it guides everything you do in your research. It guides absolutely everything you do. Guys, I've given a couple of slides in terms of this. I think, let me stop there because I'm going to start rushing now. Okay, I'm so sorry that this is very formal, very much like a lecture, but I think we've got to get the theory behind us. But we'll get through this, guys. We'll definitely get through this. Any questions, any comments?